In this video, I'm going to be recreating natural disasters in terrariums. Let the challenge begin. Okay, so let's start with the first terrarium to experiment with. This is a 1 liter desert terrarium, and I know the perfect inhabitants for it. Meet the antlion and all of its friends. These formidable predators hunt by digging pits in the sand. Our first natural disaster is a sandstorm. As the wind picked up, the antlions went further into their burrow, trying to escape the choking, blinding sand that swept across the landscape. They were actually more chilled out than I thought they would be. I assume living in sandy conditions mean they're used to this kind of weather all the time. While they rebuild their burrows, let's move on to the next disaster. This is a mini underwater aquarium I built from rocks and sand. And this is a flammable ship I built out of cardboard. But what the crew of this boat don't know is that I'm going to be simulating a natural disaster on them. Let's set the boat on fire to simulate a lightning strike. I set the boat ablaze and sent it to sea. But 1 second, what has this got to do with terrariums? Watch the end to find out, because honestly, it's worth it. Finally, the ship's main cabin burnt to the ground and the boat sunk to the depths. The next morning, the shipwreck was revealed in all of its glory. Yeah, the only problem, it left a huge oil slick in the top of the tank. I guess human disasters can be just as destructive as natural ones. I think this boat's had enough torture, so let's move on to the next disaster. This is a thriving woodland ecosystem I built. However, this wouldn't be an Enter Clash video without some bugs. Meet Harry and Lloyd. These are cigarette beetles. Let's add them to the tank along with crickets, ants, and even Eric the jumping spider. The woodland terrarium is now complete, but what would happen if a huge snowstorm hit it? Let's see how the animals react. The sub-zero temperatures rehydrated the landscape. But the animals did not like it. They retreated to a location where the temperature was a bit more bearable. Wow, it looks so cold in this terrarium now. Who knew a cheese grater could be so effective? This next terrarium I decided to build on a desert island. It's a 1 liter lakeside theme ecosystem, and like all places near the water, it's prone to flooding. Let's simulate rising sea levels by filling up the terrarium with water. Okay, so that basically did nothing, it just filled up the terrarium with water. Another natural disaster is a tsunami, so what happens if I make waves in the terrarium? The terrarium is completely flooded now. To my surprise, the riverbank held up terribly. While I clean up this muddy mess, let's move on to the next disaster. For this disaster, I want to build a desert island. For this next disaster, we're not just testing it out on one biome, but an entire island. What would happen if we leave it in direct sunlight for 3 hours? Wow, I did not expect that. The water is almost completely gone. This is an old rickety bridge in a swampy lake. The water's rancid and the bridge is completely overgrown. What will happen to it during a hailstorm? Let's recreate one using ice cubes. Wow, that bridge must have been really flimsy. 1 second, these oil drums just washed up. I could not guess where they're from. Anyway, that bridge was a bit of a safety hazard, so maybe its destruction was a good thing. On to the next disaster. Another terrarium I built is this mini jungle volcano ecosystem. It has moss, a bunch of bugs, and most importantly, a volcano. But to truly test its power, I'm going to simulate another natural disaster, which is an eruption. If this works, you have to like the video, or else. Let's see if we can really turn up the heat with this experiment. That's so cool. It looks exactly like lava spewing from a volcano. That smell of vinegar makes you think I'm having fish and chips. Now that I have all these terrariums, I'm going to call my friend at the AquaVerse and see what he thinks.
Okay, I've never seen a tundra ecosystem. Is that shipwreck? I guess they're alright.
Mate, you don't seem impressed.
They need something different, something out of this world.
I guess technically an asteroid's out this world, so let's simulate a huge meteor impact using this rock. Here it goes. Damn, that asteroid was deadly, but honestly, the terrarium was pretty trash, so I'm kind of glad this meteor strike happened. This channel is tiny and I want to meet new people, so if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.